Hearsay is specifically prohibited from being used as evidence in a court proceeding. It's not even allowed. I'm Robert Owens, and this is Constitution Corner. I'm a former prosecutor and 20 years as a trial lawyer. Today we're going to talk about the Constitution and a topic that many Americans are really getting familiar with, and that's the topic of impeachment. Now, prior to all the talk of impeachment with regard to President Trump, we had a number of impeachment issues dealing with Clinton when he was in office. So let's talk about the process that we have for impeachment, and also how impeachment applies in other processes of the federal government. So it's worthwhile to note that the impeachment process is different for different federal offices. So, for example, the president can be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, i.e. there's got to be some aspect of not just bad conduct, but criminally bad conduct for an impeachment process to apply. However, it's a different standard, for example, for a Supreme Court justice. There, the standard only deals with can keep their office for terms of good behavior, and good behavior isn't necessarily defined very well, but really it doesn't require any type of criminal conduct. They can just be essentially impeached for being a bad justice. And we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about the president and the issues of impeachment dealing with that we're looking at today. So first of all, let's talk about the process. We've seen a number of House committees that have been called, and that's because the process is this. In order to start an impeachment process, there needs to be a bill put forward in the House to begin the impeachment process, and it leads up to hearings and then a vote by the House of Representatives for impeachment, up or down, right? They do not get to decide guilt in any way, shape, or form. The House can only decide yes or no in terms of, does the process go forward? Many Americans are informed and are aware of what's called the grand jury process. And the grand jury process, of course, is different from the petite jury process, which is the guys in the box. So if you're watching your TV and you're seeing the court drama and there's the 12 people in the box and they're voting for guilt or innocence, that's called the petite jury. That's actually the role of the Senate. That's after the House votes to impeach. The House is like the grand jury, which is in our system of government where a bunch of citizens are sitting around a table. A prosecutor presents evidence in a secret, secret room and or secret proceeding that isn't recorded or made public, and presents the evidence. And then that group of body decides, those citizens decide, all right, is there probable cause that some crime committed? And only then does it then go into the process of an indictment for a crime, and then it would go to the petite jury to determine guilt or innocence. So the House of Representatives is like the grand jury that's just going to determine, is there probable cause to go forward? Now, I think many Americans are looking at this as a total political stunt, that there is, in fact, no grounds going forward. And there's this term called hearsay that's thrown out. So as 20 years being a trial lawyer, let me briefly explain what hearsay is. Hearsay is something that is being put forward as evidence for the thing that it was actually said being true. So what that means is this. If I say, hey, I heard Donald Trump say he took $100,000 from Russia, right? Now, that's not actually the same as Donald Trump a recording or something else. That's just my reporting what he said, okay? That's hearsay. That's not actually hearing him say it. It's some other person saying, I heard him say it. In many respects, hearsay is specifically prohibited from being used as evidence in a court proceeding. It's not even allowed. If you bring up a question, hey, what did so-and-so say? One of the attorneys should say, Your Honor, I object. and the judge would say sustained, that question wouldn't even be allowed because it's considered unreliable evidence. Now, in contrast, so eventually if the House says we're going to impeach, doesn't mean President Trump is impeached. That means it goes to the Senate, and they're like the jurors in the box. And I think it's pretty clear they're going to vote no. That's why I say it's a political stunt. They're just trying to ride it into the 2020 election cycle to muck and mire the president. Supreme Court justices are different, however. They can be impeached for pretty much just being rotten justices. In fact, Samuel Chase, an associate justice in the 1800s, was impeached basically for being partisan as well. So those kinds of things can happen. It's a different process. That's the nature of impeachment and what most Americans should know about it. I would say honor the Constitution by understanding it. You can go to thenewamerican.com and jbs.org for more info and more shows.